Welcome to the 2020 Basecamp Final Pitch. My name is Naveed.
My name is Madhavi, and we are the Sandbox coordinators of the DMZ based in the heart of Toronto.
Many of you already know Basecamp is an intensive 8-week summer program helping youth develop market and accelerate innovative solutions to solve some of the world's biggest challenges. This
year, we're doing things a little bit differently. We moved all of our programming online, but have kept the same value, access to mentorship, and community as if we were in person.
The program cannot be possible without the support of our corporate sponsors, keynote speakers, and mentors. A huge thank you goes out to all of you who have made this possible and prepared our students for today.
3 out of our 6 participants today will be named winners of the final pitch and will win $5,000 each. In addition, they will be awarded an accounting package from Logan Katz at a value of $13,000. Some benefits include one-on-one meetings with senior level executives, quarterly consultations, and support on a wide range of accounting services. Not to mention, Logan Katz will be providing exclusive one-on-one strategic consultations for all 6 participants.
All Basecamp participants, regardless of winning the competition, will receive benefits from the following DMZ partners. 26 companies have worked hard over the past 8 weeks, and 6 of them are here to present today their final pitches. Let's announce our panel of judges will be determining our 3 winners.
Dr. Dawit Eshtu is a professor at Niagara College with 30 years of experience teaching, research, consulting, and project management. His areas of expertise are in international business, economic development, innovation, as well as social entrepreneurship. Dr. Eshtu has mentored and supported young people with ideas and startups, which has led him to win numerous teaching and service awards.
Patrick Diab is the Chief Product Officer at Moneris, where he oversees the ongoing evolution of the organization's product portfolio. Mr. Diab evaluates emerging technologies and how they can be leveraged to create more agile and robust business solutions. With over 18 years of experience in the payments industry, Mr. Diab has implemented solutions for a multitude of industry segments. He's also held roles in technology, product, and client integration.
Fardin Khan brings over 5 years of experience working in and within startups and is an ex-founder of one. He's currently at the Biomedical Zone, Canada's leading health tech incubator, where he leads pipeline management and outreach for founders, as well as work with resident companies on high-level strategies and metrics. He has a passion for innovation, especially in the health sector, and working with early-stage founders.
We'd like to wish the best of luck to our final 6 teams. They've worked extremely hard to get here, and we're very proud of them. Without further ado, let's get started with the presentation.
All right, so first we have Kaylee and Jackie from the Friendlier Company.
Thanks, Madhavi. Hi, my name's Kaylee, and I'm the co-founder of a Friendlier Company, creating a smart reuse system to eliminate single-use food packaging waste. So you got takeout for dinner. Fun! But what happens to that plastic packaging after? Maybe it ends up in a landfill, where it will sit for the next 1,000 years. Or maybe it will be incinerated. Or maybe it will end up in the ocean, where it will end a sea turtle's life. This is the reality of plastic food packaging. Governments around the world are imposing single-use plastic bans to combat this, but what other options do we have? Restaurants can't afford biodegradable containers. Bring your own container programs are inconvenient, and recyclable containers usually end up in landfills. This problem is growing as takeout has increased during the COVID pandemic. The sustainable food packaging market is $175 billion globally. The Canadian market is $1 billion, of which we expect to acquire 20% market share in the top 15 cities, resulting in $196 million. Based on our surveys and interviews, 77% of consumers said they would pay more for sustainable takeout, and 67% of companies said they want to pilot our system. A Friendlier Company has created a smart reuse system to fill the gap in the market. Consumers check out our containers at their favorite restaurants with our mobile app. The checkout is immediately validated, and the consumer receives their meal in our reusable container. When finished, they scan the QR code on the container and return it to any of our convenient drop-off points. We then wash and sanitize the containers in our high-temperature dishwashers, in accordance with all Health Canada regulations. We then redistribute, creating a closed-loop system. Our solution is sustainable, it's turnkey, and it's cost-effective. We've heavily analyzed our competitors, including similar reuse systems like Wisebox and biodegradable containers like Earth Choice. Our solution takes the benefits of each of these competitors to create the ultimate turnkey system. During Basecamp, we validated our market and obtained a $24,000 contract with our first customer. We're piloting with prepared meal companies to trial consumer acceptance, then we'll pilot with restaurants in Guelph to test logistics with the mobile app. In order to scale, we will pilot the system with a satellite city partner responsible for washing and collection. If that's successful, we will scale rapidly using city partners. We charge food service providers 35 cents each time we resell a container. At our targeted market share, we expect revenues of $13.1 million per city. We have an 80% gross profit margin and give our satellite partners 30% of that, which leaves us with $110 million in profits. We are a team of chemical engineering graduates with experience in data-driven process engineering, capital project management, and business development. Our advisors are executives of successful startups with expertise in scale-up and operations, a friendlier company, because the planet isn't single-use.
Thank you, Kaylee and Jackie. I'm now going to open the floor for questions if the judges have any.
Hi, it's David. Very interesting presentation here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And one question I have is around the context your business is operating right now. I think probably you have this idea quite some time and have been working on it. How does your business model change with the current COVID environment that is imposed on restaurants, restrictions and social distancing and safety guidelines and consumer anxiety and people's apprehensive of recycled materials and things like that? So what's your response?
Great question. So we initially were actually developed a whole model for reusable cups at event venues. And so we had that all planned. We had pilots planned for March, and obviously those got canceled. So we had to repivot our idea. We saw the increased demand of takeout containers and saw this as a huge opportunity for us. So in terms of COVID safety, I'll just pull up a slide I have here. Health and safety is our #1 priority. And so we achieved this by, we use a certified dishwasher. It has been approved specifically for COVID and for our materials. So we know it is safe. We also have a letter of approval from the Guelph Public Health, which is where we will be operating our first pilot. And then we also have to communicate this to our customers and make sure that they feel safe. So we do this through a variety of different channels. We use our social media to consistently remind consumers that this is safe and what we are doing in order to prevent any cross-contamination. We also are working with our pilot partners to come up with custom marketing to reach those who don't have social media. So things like fridge magnets, brochures. And then also on our mobile application, we have all of the details of our health and safety practices. And so we've been able to address all the customer concerns so far going up to our pilot trial. And of course they had these concerns, but now it's all kind of at bay.
It's a good one. A follow-up question is on competition. Can you identify competitors close to yours and how you differentiate yourself?
Yeah, so there's a few different competitors that do reuse systems, which are the most similar to what we're doing. There's one in Toronto, and that's kind of the closest geographically. But what they do is they use very heavy, thick plastic containers that are quite expensive. And their model requires the restaurants themselves to do all the washing and sanitation. So it adds a lot of extra work onto the restaurants, and it also creates some potential for health and safety issues if everyone's not using the same practices. And those systems also require a $5 deposit from consumers to check out the containers. So by removing that initial deposit, we make it a lot easier for people to participate and lower that barrier to entry.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just building on the question, previous question, could you maybe talk a little bit about your differentiator and exactly like how are, speaking of the competition, do you know of any other one doing this, or how easy is it for anyone else to do it? So just around those things.
Yeah, so like Kaylee mentioned, there is a company called Wisebox that's doing it in Toronto. The biggest challenge with this is managing the reverse logistics and creating a centralized system, which is something that we do really well because we both have had experience in process optimization, working in manufacturing plants. So it's something that both of us have a lot of experience in. In terms of how easy it is to implement, it really relies on having a strong centralized system. And so without that, it can't work. And so we've been accomplishing that by creating a strong pilot base in Guelph to grow from there. And then in terms of our differentiator from these similar ones is we have secured a supplier which has a container that is 50% the weight of the ones that the other competitors are using. So it's half the weight, it's easily stackable, it is manufactured in Ontario actually. So we have all these environmental benefits over similar systems.
Great, thank you.
I have a quick question. I don't know if you can hear me. It's Patrick here.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, so okay, good. Thanks. Great presentation. My question is around the cost of collecting these containers and cleaning them. And is that something, the logistics behind that, is that scalable when you get into larger and larger cities?
Yes, so the way that we've kind of overcome the restrictions that come with kind of the capital requirement of having, you know, a dishwasher facility in each city is that we are planning on piloting with a city partner. So what that will do is allow us to move more quickly into new cities. So the way that would work, we have a pilot partner actually ready to go in London for the beginning of next year, and they'll be responsible for the washing and collection. So that way we don't actually have to build facilities in every single city. We can use that logistics partner. And the cost is actually quite low. So our margins are around 80%, and then we're planning to share 30% of those with our partners, which results in around 53% gross margins for us, if that answers your question.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, thanks.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, judges.
Thanks, Kelly and Jackie.
Next up, we have Jin and Sarvnaz from Conchal.
Hello, judges.
That's better, isn't it? Imagine a world where not only can you not present a pitch, but you also can't independently buy groceries or even hold a stable job because of a disability.
For the 466 million speech-impaired people around the world, this is a reality. In North America alone, over 1.3 million people lose job opportunities because of their speech impairment. In fact, 1 in 4 deaf people have lost their job due to the communication barrier. Our society misses out on billions of dollars in wasted potential and millions of competent workers.
There is no sign of this changing within the healthcare industry. That's where Conchal comes in. We offer a real-time sign language translator in the form of a convenient and inexpensive bracelet. The Conchal bracelet is worn on the user's non-dominant hand and tracks the user's every sign. Our computer vision software and machine learning modules translate each sign to audio that is voiced out loud for others to hear.
Our customer interviews show that users currently suffer many pain points. In the status quo, the speech-impaired spend thousands of dollars for human translators, if they can afford them.
Our tech competitors offer heavy gloves or inconvenient apps that must be held by another person. Our cheap and light bracelet is entirely unique in that the speech impaired can use it to navigate life without help from anyone else, thus revolutionizing this industry. Everyone interviewed is signed onto our waitlist, and the DMZ 5000 enables our sales for this pre-committed revenue.
The Conchal bracelet will have a profit margin of 60%. We'll, acting as a B2B and B2C company, will offer online ordering from our website, as well as through sales channels such as the Association of Speech Language Audiologists. So far, we've completed our software for the MVP, reached out to dozens of people, and gathered signups for our product.
With the DMZ 5000, we plan to exponentially expand the potential of our company, test several iterations through pilot programs, and launch pre-orders by March. We'll also establish more funding from competitions and investors, finalize manufacturing partnerships, and open limited sales functionality by August 2021.
Let's talk about our team. Jin has experience as the CMO in an awards-winning esports startup, and we're both lead programmers of a competitive robotics team bringing extensively applied machine learning. We've also found mentors from various academic backgrounds, such as the Universities of Toronto, Waterloo, and New York, and from business backgrounds, such as Rosenwig & Company, allowing us to build a stellar network.
I'm Jin.
And I'm Sarvnaz.
And we are the CEOs of Conchal, a startup equipped and determined to give independence to the speech impaired, to make all voices heard.
Great presentation, guys. Just out of curiosity, how did you guys get involved with this? Like, how did you find that this is a problem you want to solve?
Yeah, okay. So at the beginning of quarantine, Sarvnaz and I knew that we had a lot of free time, so we decided that we wanted to work on something. I think around like 2 weeks after that, I don't like using personal anecdotes because I feel like they don't actually represent a whole like population, but my grandmother's lost 60% of her hearing capability in the last 10 years, and it's because her English is not her first language, it's made it like kind of difficult for her to communicate with the rest of the family. So she's kind of learned very basic sign language words, and that's where I kind of came up with this idea. And then I told Sarvnaz about it, and we did a ton of research, and we decided that there was very much an opportunity for us to basically take advantage of here.
Hi, it's Patrick here. Great idea and great presentation. A couple of questions. Have you applied for a patent for something like this? Can you speak a little bit about that? And the second question, I'm not really sure if I missed it, but what would the cost of such a device be in retail?
Sorry, okay, for sure. I can go over those really quickly. So in terms of the patent, obviously we have a lot of machine learning and computer vision code that we're taking advantage of here. And the main reason that we haven't fully gotten started on is just because of the cost of the patent. And it's just something that we can't afford right now. However, it is part of the budgeting of our $5,000. If we were to receive it, that would go towards starting to begin the legal process and sort of through the legal consultations that we receive through the DMZ. And in regards to the actual cost of the product, and just to give you an idea of our costs and then our general competitors, the Conchal bracelet, we've estimated to $100. And the main reason for that is just our hardware and basic manufacturing costs that lead to that. And this is really revolutionary because as you can see here, the only competitors, and really the names on this slide are the only competitors, start from $600 to $1,000, which is 10 times what we're offering. And the main reason for our low cost is the cost of our hardware, which is incredibly cheap and easy to manufacture, whereas our software is the bulk of the product.
Do you have a prototype?
Okay, so we have the software completed, but we got the hardware received at our house around 2 weeks ago, and we kind of put it together, but we haven't matched the hardware to the software. So our prototype is not entirely done, but we can basically understand very basic sign language.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Jin and Sarvnaz.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Perfect. Our next company up is Medikey with Sundar.
Hello, everyone. So this is a site that's familiar to all of us. When COVID-19 started, we saw it in front of retail stores, grocery stores, and most importantly, pharmacies. Now, when we see these lines, we dread them, and we think about how long it's going to take. And the winter is coming up, and it's only about to get worse. Now, I want you to think about the scenario for seniors, young mothers, and people with disabilities. Accessing the pharmacy for them can be a lot harder than the average individual. And after speaking with pharmacists, we found that they want more time for prescriptions and less time on inquiries for over-the-counter products such as Tylenol, Advil, and feminine hygiene products. This brings me to Medikey. Medikey increases accessibility to healthcare products, providers, and information. We do this by being a two-part service. Our first part of the service connects you to a local pharmacy in your area through a map interface. You could then explore the pharmacy listing of their products and services that they provide. What's unique about it is you can also purchase over-the-counter products straight off their listing for same-day delivery. You can also take a picture of your prescription and upload it to the pharmacy. Our second part service is connecting with a healthcare practitioner via video or audio chat. Through this, you can get a consultation for an over-the-counter product recommendation or a prescription. Now, these two services work hand in hand as you can get a consultation for your over-the-counter product recommendation or prescription and upload it right to the pharmacy and get it in the same day while at home. Our business model is simple. We're a B2B2C marketplace application. For every minimum order of $20 for OTC products that the pharmacy receives, we charge a small fee of $3. Similarly, for every prescription that they receive, we charge a 15-cent fee. For practitioners, for every booking that they receive through our platform, we charge them a $20 booking fee. There's our market size. We're starting off in the Kingston area with $11.1 million market size and making our way across Canada with a $1.08 billion market size. Then across the world, with an $8.83 billion market size. This is what we're looking at projections for our first 2 years. In year one, we plan on having 100 partnered pharmacies and almost breaking even. By the end of year two, we plan on being across Canada with 400 partnered pharmacies and $1.5 million in earnings. This is what the health tech market competition looks like. We categorize ourselves in the search service and scheduling and healthcare marketing section. How we differentiate ourselves is at price point and number of features. We're completely free for listing for pharmacies and for practitioners, and only charge at the transactional base. This is the team that's carrying it out. I myself am a Master's of Entrepreneurship graduate from the Smith School of Business and worked at Shoppers Drug Mart for over 2 years and have a computer science background. Tarek is a pharmacy owner of over 15 years and has an MBA background. Sherry Houston is the director of the MMI program. Scott Runte is the CEO of Launch Lab, and Anmol Sewer is a pharmacy owner of over multiple Shoppers Drug Mart locations. Thank you very much.
Hi, Sander. It's David. I have a question. I think you. That's a great presentation. I think that's one of the businesses that probably will be focused and moving forward. Especially what we have learned is the lack of emphasis and focus in especially the senior demographic, as we have seen very much affected by the whole pandemic. And I think there would be more support and more resources and more programming around that, and I myself work in that area as part of my volunteer duty. My question to you is, you pretty much laid out your plan to work with pharmacists and health care practitioners, but on the other hand, also you have the target market, such as you said, the senior demographics or other people who might have difficult access to over-the-counter medication because of the long lines you showed us. How do you reach out to those? Like, I think your business model, as you said, it's B2B, but it has also B2C element in it. So how do you connect those pieces? How do you reach out to the customer side of it?
Thank you so much for your question, David. So what we do is we want to create partnerships with senior homes, with senior programs, and other outlets that seniors look to for their medication counseling or their medication updates for their services and products. They receive multiple magazines every month that have these services that can be provided for easing their access to healthcare products, and we want to be in the forefront of those. We also noticed through interviews with a lot of customers that are seniors that they oftentimes have their grandchildren or they have their children look for these services and access them online for them. So we're also using multiple marketing outlets that are going to be reaching out to the people that take care of them as well to use our services.
Thank you.
Yeah, I have a question, more a comment and a question. So how do you see yourself competing with the large companies that play around with this? Like, you mentioned you work for Shoppers. Shoppers already has an app, and potentially they're going to get into this area. Same thing with the Katz group. And then insurance companies are also playing around with these type of services where they can refer you to a practitioner. And how do you see yourself competing with them? And two, my other question is, how easy is your app to use? Because if the largest market that you're talking about are seniors, we know how much seniors love to use apps and technology. So how are you dealing with that?
Thank you so much for your question, Patrick. So in order to get to the, once you get to the OTC product page, it's only 3 clicks to get there. So we placed a great focus on the user experience to make sure that's easy to use. As soon as you hop on our platform, you're presented with the option to click through pharmacy, the map interface, and then you're right at the pharmacy page to start purchasing. And the purchase process is extremely easy. You place in your credit card, you press order, and it comes to you. In terms of competing with Shoppers Drug Mart, we've already received order for personalized medication. Here in our application, we're empowering independents, and they carry generic brand medication that customers can't find in Shoppers Drug Mart because they carry the popular name brand. And that's really what we're targeting with the generic medication and onboarding as many independents and listing as much OTC products that they have. And those sales and orders were straight off search engine straight off searches from Google. So they found our page by searching off the exact product that they need, which is a TomaCare allergy medication. And we received 4 orders so far without any marketing and without releasing our MVP.
Perfect. Thank you, Sundar. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, judges.
Up next, we have Colette from Project Lightbulb.
Hello, I'm Colette. And when I was 13 and diagnosed with cancer, I was forced to take a year off of school. And I got really bored. So I started researching, and I won national and international science fairs for finding a new treatment for cancer. However, this is not the story of the other 130,000 youth hospitalized annually in Canada. Often, virtual education lacks engagement. Subsequently, students fall behind, increasing self-doubt and reducing academic success. I saw peers that wanted to be marine biologists not want to go back to school, as virtual classes have a 10 to 50% higher risk of dropout than in-person classes. And now, with COVID-19, over 5.5 million students are completing remote learning. And even after the pandemic, virtual education is going to be embedded into the classroom. That is why Project Lightbulb is a virtual science education that guides students through curriculum outcomes using hands-on experiments that only require paper and materials you'll find in your environment, because every child should see science in action. There is a big gap in this market. Users like Khan Academy and BrainPop teach the theory behind the scientific method, but don't apply it in a hands-on method. Then you have at-home science projects and maker kits that are fun, but don't teach the method in a proper method, leaving students confused. We combine both to help students apply their learning in a fun way, leading to long-term problem solving and innovation skills, all while being highly accessible. Like most ed techs, we want to get to schools. This requires extensive market validation, so we're starting in hospitals. We have already started developing and user testing our materials with teachers and students. In our first stage, we'll be piloting in hospital-based organizations. We are predicting 50 active participants for a fall pilot, but we hope to grow this to 200. In our second stage, we'll expand into a greater number of hospitals and also start integrating into schools through private tutor pilots and classroom pilots, and we'll fully integrate in the end. As a non-for-profit, we hope to subsidize the cost of our program using grants and corporate sponsorships. We'll then run our program and measure metrics such as active participation, mood, and interest in science, which will reinforce the need for our program. We will then charge partner organizations on a per-student subscription basis to increase the sustainability. We are leveraging current connections to build our program. I am the advisor for the London Children's Hospital and the youngest of 30 chosen to represent Canadian women in STEM. Eric is the founder of Pastel Education, which is used in 22 school boards. Walid is a software engineer, and Julia, our advisor, is the founder of EdTech with 2 million users. We are asking for $5,000 to run our pilot. Curiosity is what got me from board in the hospital to finding a new treatment for cancer, and we want to foster it in a virtual setting. Thank you.
Great presentation, Colette. Quick question. So is it module based? How does it work? And then I guess maybe a follow-on question is, have you validated already with a few students? And what does that feedback look like?
So one of the things we really wanted to focus on is that students could choose what they enjoy, because if you're doing something you don't enjoy, you're not going to want to do it. And so all of our program is based on experiments. So our first set of experiments is all on paper airplanes. So we're going to have individual experiments and then also series of experiments that build off of each other. So if you find something you're interested in, you can keep with it, or you can find a new topic. And in terms of starting to pilot it, we have had youth that I know through friends and family try it out, as well as a couple teachers go through and make sure that we are kind of doing this proper learning method. I've also taken a few online courses in education and fostering that curiosity and engaging learning. And so then we are looking to then validate this in the hospitals in our fall pilot.
Got it. And so do you have an MVP?
So yes, so we've started creating these actual experiments. So if I switch back to this slide, this is actually our program just running as if a student was to go through and do it.
Got it. Okay, great, thanks.
Hey, Colette, it's Patrick. Thank you for your presentation. Still having a hard time to understand what's the difference between what your solution does and the many other competitor solutions that exist like that in the market.
Yeah, so I'll just move to my competition. So currently you have like a lot of at-home science projects for parents to do, but I don't know if any of you are parents and have now tried to navigate teaching your kids at home. It's a little bit difficult because they give you the ingredients you need and the steps to do it. But often those things that you need aren't really at your home, even though you supposedly are supposed to have them. So that's why all of ours are paper-based, which makes it really easy for people to do it because most people have paper at home. And the other aspect is a lot of parents don't know where do those experiments actually apply into the curriculum and help students to kind of learn in that method. And so you do have programs like Khan Academy that teaches students like the general science curriculum, but it doesn't teach those hands-on experiments. And it's actually showing that having opportunities for those hands-on experiments helps students to learn better. But you can't just give them an experiment and say, go. You need to slowly guide them in that process. So we try and combine both, which most programs in the virtual format don't have.
Okay, thanks.
One question I have is a very inspiring story, by the way. One question is why you want to focus on science, and the other question I have is you mentioned you want to focus on more the experimental, the practical aspect as opposed to Khan and the others. What kind of setup are you looking for? What's credential behind it, and what is the level of, again, is it lab setting and those kind of, are you looking at those things also? Is it going to be, or is it just one of those small basement kind of a startup?
So starting off kind of with about where this is kind of going is we are hoping to get it into schools, as especially currently now it's a little bit difficult for students as they're back and forth between the online and in person. And so we don't want it so that students need to be in the lab to be able to complete it. We want it to be right away in their house. They can do it kind of immediately. And in terms of why this experimental learning is, I don't know about you, but I didn't choose my career based off of reading something from a textbook or watching kind of this video that I had to do some math problem. I chose it from getting into the experiments, getting my hands a little dirty, flying a paper airplane across the room and kind of going, wow. And those wow moments aren't inspired from textbooks. And so that's where this experimental learning has been shown in quite a few scientific articles that learning is so much more increased in the retention, because being able to apply your knowledge is becoming such an important factor in how education is taught. You can't just regurgitate information from your textbook. You need to actually be able to apply it. And so that's really what we're focusing on, is that's what careers are moving towards. And science really isn't our end subject. We actually are choosing science because it's a really easy vehicle to teach these problem-solving skills. The scientific method isn't that different from design thinking, and we want to be able to foster that idea of asking a question, doing your background research, carrying out a method and analyzing, whether that's analyzing an English paper or trying to create a business and do entrepreneurship. It's very similar, but we can't do all subjects at once. So we're focusing on science, which is an area my whole team knows a lot about. And we also have a network of other students that are high interest in science, because both Waleed and I were in science fairs, and so we know hundreds of youth that specialize in every area of science, from paleontology to archaeology to astronomy.
Thank you.
Thank you, judges, and thank you, Colette.
And our last group for the afternoon is Anexa with Alice and Saad.
So hi, my name is Alice. I'm here with Saad, and we are the co-founders for Anexa, where we're taking advantage of two cutting-edge technologies that have been developed in the last 5 years, specifically their intersection, and we think we were one of the first to take this to the market. So looking around us, we're currently living in a connected world that's powered by the internet. And as a cost of this convenience, security hacks and latency issues are fairly common. So this last year, there's this incident where around 6 million accounts on this dating app got hacked, and it just so happened to also be on Valentine's Day too. So these types of incidents are definitely annoying, but what if you were told that your sensitive financial information was also being targeted? And unfortunately, this is also really common. There are currently around 80,000 cyber attacks happening each day. And in the healthcare space, over 40 million health data records get stolen, resulting in the industry losing over $6 billion. And this problem scales and targets at both the industry and individual levels. But our solution to this is a decentralized platform where records with sensitive information can be stored and secure communication can be exchanged, geared towards the healthcare space. It combines quantum properties, blockchain, and IoT into a single solution consisting of 2 layers, a blockchain-based authentication and a quantum-based verification system. So together, they create these unhackable, efficient, private, and trusted communication channels when transmitting messages and also saving files for data storage. So within a network, any sensitive information stored is guaranteed to be secure and communication instantaneous. So within our targeted market of hospitals and insurance agencies within healthcare organizations, we've estimated our total addressable market to be around 40 million, while our serviceable addressable market to be around 8 million. And in terms of the other organizations within this industry, current security softwares have limitations, with first being unable to prevent attackers from dialing into or out of an internal network, which automatically bypasses the measure. But our solution utilizes a property called quantum key distribution that makes it physically impossible for any third party to intercept, while also having zero latency. So for our business model, it's a simple two-part process. We're B2B, so for both the blockchain and quantum encryption part of our solution, it would be around $28,000, while there would be an additional cost of $26,000 per year. And so right now, in terms of product development, we're currently completing our MVP. So in the next few months, we'll be testing and gathering user feedback, making partnerships, starting some pilots, and just iterating before going mainstream. And so our team is currently just our co-founder and I, and we're actually part of a few organizations where we've been doing a lot of research into using quantum computing in the healthcare and cybersecurity industries for the past year. So with ANAXA, we are reimagining communication by leveraging quantum and blockchain for a guaranteed, secure, and latency-free network. Thank you.
Sure. I guess I can go first. Great presentation, Alice. Question around how do you integrate this within a hospital system? So hospitals have their legacy systems or really old systems, and it differs each organization to organization. Even in this day and age, you'll find hundreds of different variations on that. So how easy is it to integrate? And if it is easy, or have you thought about it? So what would that look like?
That's a really great question. Saad, do you want to dive into the implementation process?
Yeah, so we understand that it's not exactly a uniform landscape in terms of what architectures and what back-end solution all these hospitals and these health insurance companies have. So in the event that we're not able to reconcile our communication solution and our blockchain platform with whatever back-end they have, we are also planning to create our own end-to-end service where we have the application where the user enters their data, and we also have the application where the medical personnel, they also manage all that data and send it to the blockchain platform. So in the event that we're not able to combine their solution with our communication, we promise to bring our own end-to-end solution for these hospitals so that it's the easiest implementation for them.
Perfect. Thanks, Saad.
I have a question. So who's the client here, and who's entering the information?
Yeah, so good question. Basically, our main target user, who are in the industries that we're approaching, it would either be the chief information officer or chief technology officer of, say, a health insurance company, or just the head of risk management in, say, a hospital. So the position varies throughout each agency, but we're targeting the CTO, CIO, head of risk management, whoever is in charge of maintaining the information and security of that whole network of that hospital or of that health insurance agency, and they would be the one who would implement it.
Perfect.
I have a question based on Farad's question, actually. Fardan's question. What do you think is the barrier for you to enter the market, other than the sensitivity nature of the business, and in some ways as you're dealing with established industry that have their own system, and you coming as a young new startup, and what's the challenge you see in entering that market?
Yeah, really good, great question. So the healthcare industry is definitely really risky, especially because right now you're dealing with people and their lives, and there's also so many other organizations within that specific industry. So our plan right now, our main target would be health insurance companies and hospitals, but we're thinking of first approaching a lower risk market with the same pain. So for example, we're thinking of approaching some dating apps and just other social media companies, any apps that collect some sort of PIIs, but are generally low risk. And once we establish some credibility there, like once we test our MVP, it's working, or test our pilots, it's working, it's like efficient, people actually like that, then we're going to branch it out to our next target market, which would be like small to medium-sized insurance agencies. So we're just like going to target the head of risk managements over there, and then from there branch it to smaller hospitals of like less than 100 beds, partner with these like health insurance agencies. So yeah, definitely the process into going into the healthcare space is going to be challenging. So to kind of make that process a bit less hectic, then Saad and I are both planning on first approaching a lower risk market.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. And thank you, Anexa.
Thank you.
And thank you, judges, for your questions. That concludes our pitches for today. Thank you to our teams, Friendlier Companies, Snowball, Kongshell, Medikey, and Project Lightbulb, as well as Anexa. Now, finally, the moment that you all have been waiting for.
Our first winner is a Friendlier Company.
Congratulations, Friendlier Company.
Congrats.
Thank you so much.
And our second winner is Project Lightbulb.
Thank you, guys. Congrats.
Congrats to the previous two teams. So finally, our third winner is Kongshell.
Amazing. So congratulations to A Friendlier Company, Project Lightbulb, and Kongshell. All of you should be extremely proud of how hard you worked and how far you've come.
Thank you to our amazing cohort that's gone above and beyond these past 8 weeks. I think I speak on behalf of the Sandbox team and DMZ that we really enjoyed watching you all grow and are extremely proud of every single one of you. As you continue your journey as an entrepreneur, we wish you the best of luck, and wherever your journey takes you next, you'll always be a part of the DMZ family. I'll leave you with one piece of advice, and that's the advice I gave you on the first day we all met. You get what you put in. Remember to give 110% in everything that you do. Don't lose sight of what makes your heart sing.